What I've learned by covering Michigan is the genius behind John Beilein. Okay, and I really saw it back in 2014 when they played Syracuse, and he kind of dismantled that 2-3 zone. Okay, in just his thought process and the way he's accepted us. When I was with the Big Ten Network, he opened his doors to us to be able to have, full coverage of the team and kind of insight into what he was thinking. So as I watch him coach, and I'm just sitting there watching this Michigan team, you got 4 players basically outside of Xavier Simpson that can shoot it. They share the basketball. They're unselfish. They play together. High intelligence. So I'm looking at the game and I'm watching Michigan. I said, this Michigan team, based on where they're seated, can get to a Final Four.
And Simpson can play some serious defense.
He's from Ohio. I mean, what you expect? What you expect? He's from Ohio.
You know that there's those state lines get crossed quite a bit.
I know.
You know that. So, but what is Beilein's genius then? Take me inside what you see and what is being done seemingly year after year, molding a Clay into a championship run potential.
He did it at West Virginia, but probably didn't have the same caliber of players. Mm-hmm. When he had, Trey Young and Glenn Robinson III, he had, Tim Hardaway Jr., that's when you saw everything kind of come together because these were pros he had finally to run his system. And that system and those pros took him to the championship game. The ability for him to understand the talents, the strengths of his players and put them in those situations. He's not going to have a prototypical center, which his game doesn't have. But a Mo Wagner, what he's able to do on the court to stretch the floor, to open up the passing lanes and driving lanes, he puts guys in position. The spacing is great, but he puts a premium on thinking the game. I'm a pass on time, on target. I'm not going to turn the ball over. And we're not going to beat ourselves. And honestly, this year, that's probably one of their best defensive teams that nobody's really talking about. That's what allowed them to win their first 2 games when they weren't shooting well.
Jim Jackson, Westwood One, Fox Sports here on the Rich Eisen Show. Before we turn to tonight, what do you make out of Kentucky not shaking hands? I mean,
I don't like it. I mean, because if when you win, you're celebrating, okay, and you shake hands and you do everything you want to do. The losing team comes to you. When you lose, you lose with dignity. Okay, let me tell you something. 67 teams are going to lose. There's only one that's going to walk away and be happy. Coach John Calipari should have got those guys and brought them back out the locker room and went out there and shook their hands because we all hate to lose. You think I wanted to lose to Michigan after we beat them twice? But you know what? I had respect for the other locker room, and I shook their hand. And our coach wasn't going to allow us not to do it anyway. So I think it is a sign of disrespect because when you're winning and you're on top, everything is great. But when you lose with some dignity.
How come that doesn't happen in the pros?
It's never been part of it, though.
In the NBA, I know.
But now individually, you may go up to a friend, to somebody you know, and tell them. Now, you see it a lot more, I think, in today's game with a lot of guys after the game having conversations and talking.
Right.
Before when I came in, we might point a finger and be like, all right, good game, and walk off. Now, a lot of guys really interact after a game because they grew up playing AAU together, these all-star games together, so they have more of a personal, I think, relationship over the years. So now it's no big thing for them to have a conversation, to shake hands, to do things after a game.
But it is definitely an unwritten rule that you don't believe should be violated in college.
No, at all. After the game, win, lose, or draw, you go shake the opposing team's hand, and you walk off the court.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.